how free AI actually makes money. And we're going to start by talking about a universal experience we've pretty much all had over the last couple of years.
You hear about some incredible new AI model. You pull up the website and you're just in, right? No paywalls, no credit card prompts, just a blank text box inviting you to ask it literally anything. You type a prompt and boom, instant results. Whether you're debugging Python code, drafting an email, or trying to figure out what to cook with a half-empty fridge, it just delivers. And the craziest part? It costs you absolutely nothing upfront. It feels like you're getting access to the most sophisticated supercomputers in human history, totally on the house. But, as you might guess, behind that magical, frictionless curtain is a highly calculated, incredibly lucrative business engine.
So we really have to pause and ask ourselves, if these things are free, how on earth are these companies making millions of dollars? Because think about it, behind that little blinking cursor are massive server costs, astronomical electricity bills, and armies of elite engineers. So how do you build a multi-billion-dollar empire by just giving your core product away? Well, to solve this little mystery, we have to talk about the foundation of this whole illusion. It's a concept called freemium. See, most of these AI tools aren't actually free. They're freemium. You get the basic features for $0 just to get you hooked into their ecosystem. Sure, the free version is amazing, but it's really just a sample. It's perfectly designed to show you exactly how valuable it is, so you start relying on it, all while they keep the absolute best stuff securely locked behind a paywall. Think about platforms like ChatGPT. You get in for free, it works, it's super impressive. But you might hit a usage limit, or maybe it gets a little sluggish when everyone is online at the same time. Now, if you want the blazing fast responses, the absolute cutting-edge models, or higher message caps, yeah, you're going to have to open your wallet. The free tier creates the habit. The upgraded tier, that's what monetizes the habit.
And this brings us to the actual engine running the show. SaaS, or software as a service. You aren't buying a CD-ROM and owning this AI forever. You're essentially renting access to it through a recurring monthly subscription, shifting consumers from a one-time buy-it-and-forget-it purchase into a continuous, reliable monthly habit. That is exactly where the massive wealth gets generated.
Let's actually run the math on this just to see how wild it gets. We'll start with a super modest hypothetical number. Let's say an AI tool charges a subscription fee of just 500 rupees a month. On an individual level, that feels like nothing, right? Especially for a tool that might literally save you hours of busy work every single week.
But the magic of software is that it operates on a global scale, instantly. If you build a tool that's just useful enough to convince 1,000 people to pay that 500 rupees, you are suddenly pulling in a very solid 5 lakhs every single month. And remember, this is a digital product. Serving 1,000 users doesn't mean you have to manufacture, pack, and ship 1,000 physical boxes. Now watch what happens when we really scale this up. Because that free tier is inherently viral, more and more people funnel in. Hit 10,000 paying users, that revenue suddenly skyrockets to 50 lakhs per month. This right here is the compounding superpower of recurring revenue. Every month, the calendar turns over and boom, that 50 lakhs flows right back into the bank. It creates this massive baseline of financial security. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Well, I just use the free version and I'll never pay. And honestly, you're not alone. Most people do exactly that. But here's the fascinating psychology of scale. These companies don't need everyone to pay. They're actually thrilled to let the vast majority of us hang out on the free tier forever. Why? Because free users are incredibly valuable. You're providing the data to train their future models. You're doing their marketing for them through word of mouth. And you're helping establish their tool as the undisputed industry standard. If you looked at a company and saw that 95% of their users were getting the product for free, you might think, wow, what a terrible business model. But when your baseline is literally hundreds of millions of users, a tiny 5% conversion rate to paid subscribers is an absolute financial home run. It completely backs up what industry analysts say. Even if only 5% of users pay, that is more than enough to build a massive business, simply because the scale is so incredibly huge. Capturing just a fraction of a percent of a massive global audience into your subscription engine, that's a staggering amount of capital. It proves you don't need the whole pie. A tiny sliver of a giant pie is still a feast.
Okay, so we've cracked the code on how they make money off everyday users like us. But are consumer subscriptions the only trick up their sleeve? Actually, no. If we stopped here, we'd be missing a huge piece of the puzzle. It's time to peel back that final layer and look at where the truly mind-boggling money comes from. Because the truth is, our little 500 rupee subscriptions, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Beneath the surface are these massive, hidden business-to-business or B2B income streams. First off, you've got API access. This is where developers literally pay a toll every single time their own app talks to the AI. Then there are enterprise plans, whole corporations paying top dollar for secure, private access for thousands of employees at once. And finally, partnerships. This is when these AI models get baked directly into other massive platforms we're already using every day. When you stack that consumer freemium engine on top of these massive B2B revenue streams, you start to see why this business model is pretty much invincible. Number one, there's a ridiculously low cost to serve users. Once you've spent the money to build and train the AI, adding 1 million new users costs basically nothing. Number two, the scalability is completely unmatched. Anyone with Wi-Fi is a potential customer. And number three, because it's a SaaS model, that monthly income is highly predictable, which lets these companies reinvest aggressively and stay ahead of the curve.
So bringing it all together, we arrive at the ultimate AI monetization reality. Their revenue just keeps growing without proportional costs. Sure, the upfront investment to build these models is astronomical, but once it's up and running, the maintenance costs flatline, while the revenue curve shoots straight up into the stratosphere. What starts as a fun, frictionless free tool transforms into a ruthlessly efficient, scalable revenue machine.
Which brings us to a final, kind of provocative thought I want to leave you with. The next time you open up an AI tool and you're just blown away by what it can do for free, take a second to realize your place in that ecosystem. Because right now, you are either the paying customer or you are simply on the highly calculated path to becoming one. The entire system is built around that exact transition. I really hope this explainer completely shifted how you look at the free digital tools we use every single day. Honestly, the business of tech is often just as fascinating as the technology itself. If you enjoyed peeling back the layers with us today and want more simple, deep dive breakdowns just like this, make sure to subscribe. Keep learning with us, and we'll catch you in the next one.